the Sooners for back-to-back years get Kalen DeBoer in Alabama?
Well, I mean, it's pretty stunning for a couple of reasons. 3 weeks ago, Matt, when Ole Miss beat Oklahoma and Norman, all of a sudden, Brent Venables' job seemed to be on the line, and now he's on the door of getting to the playoffs. So it's really been an extraordinary turnaround when you think about them winning at Tennessee and Alabama. But Alabama is the story here. And a week ago, we got the vibe that Alabama fans were worried and nervous, and they had every reason to be. And it just seemed like that memo did not quite reach the team. Just some really terrible play by former Heisman Trophy candidate Ty Simpson, and some inexplicable calls down the stretch. And Matt, the stats all favor Alabama, every single aspect of it, other than a six, a missed field goal, a late fumble, all adding up to an elite defense prevailing.
Yeah, you bring up a couple of good points, because we talked about this on College Football Final into the wee hours, that Oklahoma was doubled up in offensive yards. I mean, they were outgained by so much with the Alabama offense, and it was just untimely turnovers that Oklahoma took advantage of. Now, we've seen games where you can turn the ball over, get out of there with a win, just escape and move on. But that wasn't the case for Alabama, because the Sooners were able to just take advantage of each mistake that Bama made. And any time that you needed to come down towards the end of the game and get that game-winning drive, the Sooners defense was there. And the point you made about Brent Venables is dead on, because you're right. They went all in this year. They brought in the OC and the quarterback, Mateer from Washington State. They're like, we have a good defense. We need an offense. Mateer gets hurt, comes back for Red River, didn't look good in that game. And so they were trying to figure out and save the season. Paul, you're right. This is a team that I believe they have Missouri and LSU left. The order's probably off, but either way, still not there yet. But this, to me, is one of the better coaching jobs this year because of what Oklahoma faced in the middle of the season.
And when you watch Venables on the sideline, he is calling the plays defensively. I mean, he's about as engaged as anybody in college football. And it's really an amazing story to watch. But I really wonder about Alabama now, too, Matt, because, I mean, that was just they were flat against LSU and against Oklahoma. I mean, they may rue the day that they let that one get away. And I don't mean to make too much out of history here.
Yeah.
Because the history of the Iron Bowl is pretty haunted. But 4 years ago and 2 years ago, Alabama went down there against just dreadful Auburn teams. One went 4 overtimes, should have ended, but an Auburn running back went out of bounds instead of staying in bounds. And then the last time everybody remembers, it was the Gravedigger play, the 4th and 32, and what turned out to be Nick Saban's last year. And I mean, that's one of the greatest plays of all time. I know that has nothing to do with this, but this Alabama team probably not as good as those two, and this Auburn team is not bad, and it has a little bit of life after Hugh Freeze got sent packing.
Yeah, look, Auburn's roster is a championship caliber roster, and I think that's why a lot of people were frustrated with Hugh Freeze that they couldn't get it done. But you're right with Alabama. First time we've seen them lose, Paul, since week 1 against Florida State. They seem to have captured the momentum and that Alabama swagger. Do you fear that could be gone? Look, they have a layup and then they have Auburn. But that swagger that they got, it was weird yesterday.
Yeah, it's gone. It was gone. And I mean, how many times have everyone, me leading the pack, saying, well, you just have to throw that Florida State game out. Well, you can't throw it out anymore because we saw Ty Simpson just looked spooked. Now, by the way, a lot of quarterbacks have been spooked by Brent Venables' defense. And on top of all that, what was interesting is the defensive line was missing their best player.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of us said, well, I mean, they'll be good, but maybe not great. Well, they were great. And Alabama finally got a couple of good runs, which they haven't been able to get all year, and it just didn't really matter because Ty Simpson was just could not make anything happen. It's way too early to speculate, but I think Alabama has made everything very complicated for itself. They still have a path, and I'll spare the audience the 18,000 tiebreakers in the SEC, but they don't have a lot of air to breathe right now, which I mean, they were 97%. Now they've lost about half of that going into the playoffs.
You want this, you got that. fast.